Have you ever stood in your garden and sighed at that one patch of ground that just won't get enough sun? Maybe a tall fence, a nearby tree, or the orientation of your yard leaves part of your space in shadows for most of the day. Many gardeners think this means that nothing useful can grow there, and they end up leaving those spots bare or covering them with grass. But here's the good news. Shade doesn't have to be wasted space. In fact, with the right choices, you can turn those low-light areas into lush, productive corners of your garden that keep your kitchen stocked with fresh vegetables. Today, I want to share with you the 5 best vegetables that don't just tolerate shade, they actually thrive in it. Why shade gardening works. Before diving into the vegetables themselves, it's important to understand why some plants prefer shade. Not all crops need the blazing sun to grow strong. Vegetables that focus their energy on leaves, roots, or shoots often grow better with less direct light because they don't rely on the intense energy needed to ripen fruit. In cooler, shadier conditions, their leaves stay tender, their roots grow steady, and they avoid the stress that can cause bolting or bitterness in too much heat. What this means for you is that those dim corners of your garden might be the perfect home for certain crops if you just know which ones to plant. Spinach is honestly one of the absolute best vegetables for shady gardens. This leafy green not only tolerates low light, but actually prefers it during the heat of summer. If spinach is grown in too much sun, it bolts quickly, sending up flower stalks and, well, turning the leaves bitter. But in partial shade, spinach stays cool and productive, giving you longer harvests of tender, delicious leaves. If you've ever struggled with spinach growing too fast or tasting too strong, moving it to a shadier spot could be the solution you've been searching for. Lettuce is another leafy green that thrives in dappled light. Like spinach, it doesn't handle heat well, and direct summer sun often makes it bolt or wilt. But in the shade, lettuce grows slower, keeping its leaves crisp and sweet. This makes shady garden beds perfect for growing a variety of lettuces from butterheads to romaine to loose-leaf types. Imagine walking out to a shaded corner of your garden on a warm day and harvesting a fresh salad that tastes better than anything from the store, all because you gave it a cooler place to grow. Kale, the tough beauty of shade. Kale is often praised for its hardiness, and it's true, this vegetable will grow just about anywhere. What many gardeners don't realize is that kale also does very well in partial shade. In fact, a bit of shade can make its leaves softer and less tough, especially in summer when direct sun can cause kale to become leathery. Plus, because kale is a long-season crop, planting it in a shady spot helps extend your harvest, since the cooler environment keeps the plant growing steadily instead of burning out. Whether you love kale for soups, salads, or smoothies, a shaded bed might be the secret to your best harvest yet. It might surprise you to learn that root vegetables like radishes do very well in low light. Radishes are fast growers, and while they do like some sun, they don't need much to form their crisp, peppery roots. In shaded gardens, radishes may grow a little slower, but the roots develop beautifully without becoming woody or overripe too quickly. This makes them a perfect choice for filling in shady gaps where other crops struggle. The bonus? You also get to enjoy their tender green tops, which are just as edible and nutritious as the roots themselves. Beets are another root crop that handles shade gracefully. While they may not grow as quickly as they would in full sun, they still produce delicious, sweet roots in partial shade. What makes beets especially useful in shady gardens is that you get 2 harvests in one plant, the roots themselves and the tender beet greens, which are perfect for salads or sautéing. In fact, beet greens often taste milder and less bitter when grown in shade, making them a wonderful addition to your leafy harvests. When you start thinking of shade as an asset instead of a limitation, your gardening space suddenly opens up with new possibilities. Instead of letting those dim corners go to waste, fill them with crops that will reward you with greens, roots, and steady harvests. You might even find that your overall garden becomes more balanced when you stop trying to force sun-loving crops into shady areas. Shade can actually work with you, not against you, if you plant wisely. I can tell you from experience, discovering how to garden in shade was a turning point for me. Instead of feeling frustrated by areas that didn't get enough light, I started to see them as secret gardens where certain crops could shine. Spinach, lettuce, kale, radishes, and beets turned out to be the perfect match for my low-light beds, and they've provided harvests that are every bit as satisfying as my sun-grown crops. If you've got shade in your garden, don't overlook it. Plant these vegetables, experiment a little, and you may be surprised at just how much abundance can come from the shadows. If this guide inspired you, I'd love for you to subscribe to Gentle Herb Living and share this with a fellow gardener. Together, we can turn every corner of our gardens, sunlit or shaded, into thriving, productive spaces that nourish us year-round.